Mighty Auto Parts is our featured supplier guest today, and Doug Austin, our CEO, will come on in just a moment to introduce our guest presenter. Doug, take it away.
Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here today. We're honored to have Matt Shaw, Vice President of Sales for Mighty, to present a interesting and certainly profit-enhancing topic. We started this session about a little over 2 years ago, and our objective was to introduce suppliers and partners that can improve your profitability, reduce your expense, and bring new innovative ideas to the table. And I think this is we're probably, and the topics range anywhere from DMS systems to credit card processing, and today on the auto part side, this is pretty important. One of the things that we've seen over the years is that dealers have far too many suppliers. And one of the opportunities here today would be if you consider the content that Matt is about to deliver. This is a way to shrink your vendor base, reduce your costs, and improve your profitability. So pay attention if you would, and we're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, Doug, I thank you so much. And once again, thank you for being here and participating today. I'm excited to have you here with us. So I want to talk a little bit about what you're going to learn today. Talk first about how pairing Mighty's inventory management program can improve your service department's profitability and reduce vendors inside of there. Next, talk about how our used car reconditioning program speeds the process of getting cars to market quicker on your lots. In addition to that, lowering costs on those vehicles and increasing profitability. And how can that provide customer retention inside the locations and keep those customers coming back again and again and again. Another is talking about why the Mighty's VS7 chemical program, how is that a best in class, and how is that a benefit to your dealership or dealerships, and how does that drive profitability and retention and savings. Talk next about Mighty's Brightline comprehensive range of professional grade quality of detailing and car wash products, and how can it empower detailers and enhance the customer experience or the guest experience when they come to your location or locations. And then last but not least, what customized training solutions are available for Mighty to work with your advisors and your technicians inside your locations, really to help maximize profits, but also to cut costs, to give a consistent overall offering and create retention inside the dealerships. So first poll question. Give you just a few moments to answer that. All right. So moving on, we got a little bit of a mixed bag on here today, which is great to talk about, how does this benefit inside the car dealerships that you may be dealing with. So real quick, you may have heard or you may not have heard a little bit about Mighty Auto Parts, and I wanted to give you just a quick overall background on who is Mighty. Mighty is actually based in Peachtree Corners, Georgia. We were actually founded in 1963, which makes us one of the oldest wholesale automotive parts wholesale suppliers in the United States. And really, that's a big part of what we do. We are only B2B, so we only service professional end users, much like yourselves. So we are not selling retail. We're not DIY. We are for the professional end user, like car dealerships or quick lubes or tire stores. And we're in licensed territories, and those are the folks that we deal with. Mighty's first franchise was in 1970, and then got involved in strategic franchise partnerships in 1993. So we actually have franchisees that are car dealership groups across the country, roughly 25 of them, with around 300 rooftops in those 25 that have their own franchise and do wholesale distribution for themselves. And then we also service about 1,900 rooftops, dealerships, car dealership rooftops nationwide with our over 100 franchisees across the country. We have some international expansion. We're in 5 different countries as well. And we continue to grow. As you look at the product mix on the side of the slide here, you'll notice that really we specialize in wear and tear preventative maintenance parts. We specialize in shop supplies, janitorial supplies. We don't supply broken things. We don't compete with OE programs inside of car dealerships. That's not what Mighty is designed to do. It's designed to bolt on, and we're going to talk about some of those strategic areas as we get into it. But you can see that as you look at this, there are probably several items on there that you're like, yep, we use that, we use that, we also use that. And there may be multiple vendors that you're using for all of these different offerings as you look on the side there. And that's really where we get into the vendor consolidation is we kind of are inventory management specialists that come in, and it's one buying group that you get a wide breadth of offering from one supplier. So how do we solve problems inside the business? Well, really, I look at that at kind of four major areas of opportunity inside a car dealership. Mighty has partnered since 1963 with OE or tier one manufacturers. So all of the product offerings that are in there, whether you're talking about oil, air, cabin, fuel filtration, wiper blades, batteries, whatever that may be, we are partnering with an OE manufacturer that would be building for an AC Delco or a Nissan or a Ford Motor Company and so on across and many, many others across our line. So we really don't offer a good, better, best program necessarily. It's more of here are your OE quality parts because you're in the car dealership world. You want to make sure that you're using a very quality part at the best possible price. And that's really what we look at is using a incredible quality part that's going to match what the OE specification is so you can stand tall and know that you have that offering, but also with perhaps not at the OE price in your used car recon or your all makes, all models or those areas where you have some opportunities to make some real money. So that's one area of opportunity. The other is to boost bay efficiency. I find as I travel the country and I'm in car dealerships, large or small, doesn't matter if you have 10 stalls with your mechanics or 50, it's never enough space. So we're always trying to maximize what the bay efficiency is inside of there and get whether that's a warranty, customer pay, used car recon, whatever that experience may be, to get the car back to the customer in the fastest fashion that we could, the most efficient way. And not only for the consumer or the guest's benefit, but also for the technician's benefit. Because if they can work on more vehicles, the advisor can work on more vehicles, the shop can, you're making more money with that turnaround. Next is advanced inventory management. Really, this is designed to optimize and streamline operations. This is a stocking program inside of what Mighty does, and it's a very small footprint with a good breadth of product with inventory management folks that come by. And these are, as I said, really kind of quick, down and dirty parts that, you need every single day on these vehicles. It may be oil, air, cabin, fuel filters, light bulbs, fuses, wiper blades, maintenance chemicals, any of these little kind of small things that really are associated with maintenance and getting a car in and out in a timely manner. And these are all not necessarily really expensive parts to stock, but can be cumbersome if you're trying to manage across, say, an all makes, all models, or even a used car recon program. We have an excellent program that's been proven with many of these locations, as I've said, across the country that we deal with. And our fastest growing segment of franchisees are the car dealership world because it fits so well in this inventory management to optimize costs and really streamline their operations. And then lastly is not only the quality parts and the support and the bay efficiency and inventory management, but really training, a comprehensive training with technicians and advisors, because in our market today, we have turnover, we have challenge with getting people trained up the right way and to communicate with our guests as they come through the service drives in a good way. so that they're sticking with us for the long term. So as we look at what are the categories, where does this make sense inside of a car dealership? I think about it kind of in four different areas, and two of these areas are the largest are really used car reconditioning. You may find in your own dealerships that it's the days of single rooftop dealerships are few and far between. Most of the time you have multiple locations. Sometimes your used car recon is not getting done in one location anymore or in each of the locations. Perhaps it's being centralized and you have one dealership that's doing several, or you even have a used car reconditioning center. And, the goal of that really is you're looking to have vehicles come in, whether that's from auction or trade-in, and you're trying to get that vehicle turned around and back out on the lot for sale as quickly and cost effectively as possible. And I know that as I worked in the car dealership world, I found that I would always, as a service manager, I would have the used car manager calling me saying, "Hey, when can I get a test drive on that 2007 Volkswagen Passat?" And I would have to say, "You know what, we're waiting on a battery," or that's in the used car recon process. But I've got somebody coming down to drive that at 3:30. Well, you're just going to have to wait a little bit. So it's critical to get those cars turned around and out on the lot for sale in a very quick manner. And you hate to be waiting on small used car recon process type parts like brake parts or battery or wipers or any of those things, right? That can be a challenge. And that's really where this specializes in. And again, as you look, this isn't designed to compete with the OE or pre-owned certified necessarily. This is designed for used car recon as they're coming in there, right? You're taking in all sorts of different makes and models. You have a wide breadth of product required. Well, this is a stocking program that takes minimal space and has redundancy built in for a lot of different types of vehicles and applications, and really doesn't take a lot of space or investment to get that coverage. And then again, that's coming in at an OE quality part at a very, very effective price. So you're able to maximize your profit in that used car and use a tier one OE manufactured part. Again, the inventory management on hand, if you have it, you can turn it. If you don't have it, it's very difficult to get that car back out to market. You're having to wait for a third party to get that car. That may be one of the hotshot delivery services that's out there. And it may take a half hour, it may take an hour, it may be the next day, but that's time where the car was not on the lot and not for sale. Now, as I said, Mighty Auto Parts really specializes with our franchisees across the country with niche products specifically designed for the recon process. As we're bringing them in, we're doing vehicle inspections and we're doing light checks and battery checks and oil changes and all of our filtration and brake checks and all of those safety type items. This is really where Mighty specializes in stocking and adjusting the inventory on a weekly basis with your parts manager and our staff into making sure they have exactly what they need when they need it, but not too much. They're always massaging the inventory throughout the process to make sure that you have what you need when you need it so you don't have to wait. And lastly, we offer what's called a pre-owned protection program. Now, this is a pour-in chemical program where you can pour in 4 separate products into the vehicle with our chemical program and get some coverage. And this is really a benefit to 2 different departments. It's a benefit to the service department because it increases the used car recon sale slightly. So for instance, they could charge, let's just say $50 for a used car recon package as it goes through on the upsell on every single used car that goes through. These 4 products get poured in, and those are going in the fuel, engine or crankcase, cooling system, and transmission if it's not sealed inside of there. And this offers coverage from the Mighty franchise to the dealership for $1,500 worth of coverage, and it has 6 months of coverage or 6,000 miles, whichever comes first. And this is applicable on all cars that have less than 150,000 miles. So that's a fantastic offering inside to give kind of peace of mind and ease of sale for the used car department and increase used car recon dollars as it comes through the service department. So a couple of really nice areas of opportunity in the used car reconditioning. And then as you'll see, as we discuss a little bit later, when you get them into your chemical programs, they tend to come back to the location and creates retention, which is really important. So that would be one of the major areas that I think is a great area to save money, to consolidate and get a similar feel as you go out with every single car every time, and consistency inside there, and create retention really inside the used car reconditioning and get those cars out to sell quicker. Now, the other area of opportunity is all makes, all models. We're all across the country. As I travel, I see inside the car dealerships, if you're a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, much like the image down below, you're not just servicing Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You're servicing all sorts of vehicles, right? Because you've sold all sorts of brands, and you're trying to attract customers from all over, because we know that we want our service drives full and doing a myriad of preventative maintenances to capture that business. Well, this really helps the diversification for the dealerships to be able to get into that, because you have the coverage of parts for that all makes, all models program. Most of the services that are associated with that, trying to get those back in, are preventative maintenance services. And that's really what Mighty Auto Parts specializes in and really maximizes profits inside of there. This also increases the car count inside your location and keeps your folks busy doing what they need to do. And then once again, we circle back to customer retention. We don't want customers one time. We want them for the life. And as we think about the attrition of where customers go once they're out of factory scheduled maintenance, a lot of times they venture off from the dealerships. They end up going to independent repair facilities or quick lubes or tire stores or whatever those may be. And there's a number of different reasons. It could be that it's the perception is that it's cheaper. Maybe it's ease of use. It's right down the street, whatever those things may be. But at the end of the day, you really want to capture this customer, whether that's a used car sale and keep them coming back, or a new car sale, and they just happen to be out of factory scheduled maintenance, and you want them to continue to come back again and again and again through the service drive. This really helps identifying those areas of opportunity for preventative maintenance. That's exactly what we specialize in. So we're going to go with poll number 2 question here. Okay, so interesting. So would the accessibility of parts increase the sale for every dealership and guest? 100% said yes. So kind of a no-brainer there, right? If I have the part, is it easier? Am I going to increase my profit, the speed, the experience inside the dealership for my customer? The answer is always yes, right? So, but that's easier said than done, because you can't stock everything all the time. However, as I said, we're pretty good at doing that in our arena. Now, I want to talk to you also about strategic categories. What are some of the strategic categories that Mighty really excels in? And as I said earlier, preventative maintenance is really where we specialize. And you saw that in one of the first slides. We don't really supply or deal in broken things. We're not competing with the OE program, because that's critical to your dealership. And you have to have the program inside of there. Otherwise, you get all white cars, right? And I don't want you to get all white cars. You don't all white cars. So you need to be using your OE program. Where does this bolt on and fit? Well, preventative maintenance. And the average car as of 2023 on the road is 12.3 years old. And that's increased for a number of reasons, right? Part of COVID was, well, we had new car sales were difficult for a number of reasons there. So used car sales went through the roof. And because of that 2-year cycle of used cars on the uptick, it created a huge pool of used car owners and increased this timeline on how long people are going to own these cars. And realistically, that opens that window for 8 to 12 years of how long these people are going to own these cars. And the average car payment right now is $750 to $1,000 a month for a car payment. So that's a large amount of money for a car payment. So people are really hanging on to these used cars, and they want to maintain them, because oftentimes this is the second largest investment in their life next to their house. So they want to make sure they take care of it, so they don't have to buy a new car and get into a new car payment. So how do they do that? Well, if they're out of factory scheduled maintenance, we already talked. They're either coming back to you or they're going somewhere else. But they want to get this preventative maintenance done somewhere. They're very savvy about it. And where do they get it done? Well, we offer a full myriad of preventative maintenance items. We offer premier technology inside those preventative maintenance items. There's a tremendous amount of ease of use and support, right? And I think about the chemical program, which we'll talk about in a minute, but there's so many tools that Mighty offers with your service advisors, from show and tell items, right? To educate the consumers on what the products are, how they need the products, selling scripts. We have local trainers, as you can see, that come out and work with your folks in the field. We have huge coverage across the country with those trainers, not only to work with advisors so they can better communicate with those folks that come through the service drive, your guests, but also technicians on how to perform those services where that training is required. And then guarantees for vehicles that are out of factory warranty. Many vehicles that are coming out of factory warranty are being neglected because they don't have any warranty associated with it. Well, Mighty, through their chemical program, offers a vehicle protection warranty that's associated with a chemical program that is up to 150,000 miles and has a tremendous amount of coverage on multiple different areas. And we come out and work with your service advisors on how to present that. And that does a couple of things. Most of the time, when you're doing preventative maintenance services, they're not overly tangible. You can't taste it, touch it, feel it. And I'll use a coolant service as an example. If I do a coolant service on a car and the consumer leaves, consumers aren't car people. So as they get down the road and they feel like they got a coolant service and it was an additional, let's just say $110, they get down there and they start to, when they do the purchase, they purchase and they justify logically, but they buy emotionally, right? So as they're driving down, they're going, okay, what did I get out of this? And they're looking at the temp gauge and it's not really different. Maybe they even turn the air conditioning on and feel that and they go, well, it doesn't feel any cooler because they're not car people. And they go, what did I get out of this, right? What did I get out of this preventative maintenance service? Because it's made to put the vehicle back to original running condition, not fix broken things. Well, this guarantee provides some actual real dollars that advisors can talk to all of these guests about and get them, hey, you have some dollar coverage associated with this service. Come back and see me, and as long as you keep your services up to date, you can have it for as long as you come back and see me and perform those services. That creates some real dollar tangibility to them with these untangible services as they get down the road. The other thing is, with the chemical program, we offer incentives for the technicians and advisors from Mighty. Now, this is not uncharacteristic for a chemical program like to the right. Many of the chemical programs are out there doing this, but this is absolutely maintained with the utmost with either the dealer principal, the fixed operations director, and or the service manager there to make sure that it's being handled the right way. Now, in the chemical program, it really comes down to product, proper equipment, the repair of that equipment, the training associated with both the advisors and the technicians, the warranty, as we said, and then really just a solid rewards program inside of there. This is a great strategic category for the car dealerships to really grow, retain those customers, and keep them for the long haul, especially with the actual trends that are going on, as we discussed in the industry, with those vehicles that are on the rise at 12.3 years old. So as you look at another area here, you look at car appearance, right? And in most cases, this is not a profit center inside the car dealership. This is a cost center. So how can you control your costs inside there? Well, in the car appearance world, whether you're detailing new or used cars, or you have a car wash perhaps attached to the car dealership and you're running maybe customers' cars through after services, well, you want a diverse product offering. You want to be able, not only diverse, but also consistent. Consistency is really important inside there to get a consistent offering that comes out. That way, each vehicle is looking the way you want it to look to come out each and every time. Equipment, what does the equipment look inside there? Do you have dilution racks that are giving a dilution ratio on each of the products through there so you are able to get a consistent offering throughout there? And training and support. I can't emphasize training and support from a local level to work with detailers to make sure that they have the skill set they need to be doing their job on these vehicles as they come in, whether that's a new car prep or used car recon, and they're getting those cars ready to go back out for sale. Do they have the training and the skill set to do those tasks? All across the country, labor becomes more and more challenging. Training is absolutely critical with the labor pools that we have inside the car dealership arena. And then lastly, safety and compliance. It's a scary thing when you have bottles, spray bottles inside the detail department that have Sharpie written on them with what products inside of them, as opposed to a properly labeled bottle. From an OSHA standpoint, that's a $500 fine per bottle. So if you walk around the detail department, you can do the math pretty easily and see in a hurry, you could be up to $4,500 in fines from OSHA just by simply not having the proper labeled bottles inside your dealership. I would invite you to go out into the detail department and take a look and make sure that you have everything labeled the right way with the right product that's inside of there, and then you have your safety and compliance up to date there. New car pre-owned consistency. So key with new and pre-owned car consistency for the CSI scores for the entire dealership. You want to make sure that your brand is protected and that you're doing an incredible job kicking out a beautiful product, whether that's a newer used car sold or whether that's a car coming out of the service drive going back to a guest. You want to make sure that they're hitting 5s or 10s on any of those CSI scores that come through there. Anything that has a process is going to be more consistent. Teaching a process inside of there, having a process for new, for pre-owned, and for guest vehicles, absolutely critical. And as I said, products, making sure you have consistent product offering throughout and a really quality product. It goes back to the OE specification. These are industrial strength, quality, condensed products. You're getting great dilution ratios, which is really helping you save money in the long haul. And then per car programs. Some of you may be doing per car programs inside of there. That's also an area to create some consistency and an offering throughout. And really, when you get down to what is the benefit of partnering with a Mighty franchise across the country, what is the real benefit to you? Well, as you can see in the bottom left-hand picture, it doesn't require a lot of space. We're really in the inventory management business. We come in and our model is a high-touch service. We have a sales rep that comes in weekly or whatever you dictate the frequency may be. Following right behind them the very next day, whatever that order comes to, as they have a communication with you and say, here's what we're looking at today. The very next day, we have a service rep that comes out and stocks your rack. And these are our Mighty Red racks, and we put these in, and we're very proud of what we do, but this could be your racking that's inside your parts room, wherever it would fit that makes sense for you. This is what this is the level that we come in, and this is our commitment inside the dealership with our franchises across the country. We are in the inventory management business. We want you to have what you need when you reach for it, but not too much tied up on that shelf, and we have no obsolescence. So really important. And then as you look to the right, vendor consolidation for our poor parts managers or fixed operations directors, right? You're having to deal with so many different vendors across. We have an incredibly wide breadth of product, whether we're talking about preventative maintenance parts, whether we're talking about our janitorial supplies, whether we're talking about our shop supplies, office supplies. There are a number of different product offerings that are inside of there. And we are willing to break cases. We do individual offerings. We really pare it down and make it very simplistic. And then it's coming to you in one piece of paper instead of multiple invoices. You're dealing with one point of contact. And most importantly, you've got great buying power across a wider breadth of product, as opposed to choosing and negotiating with 10 different suppliers. Just deal with the one, and then you've got buying power over that entire line, all those multiple lines. So it makes so much sense in the aspect for the inventory management and the vendor consolidation to increase profits, cut costs, increase training, and give your dealership and the customers a better experience. So it's going to lead us into poll question number 3, if you'll take a moment and do this. Okay, as we ended that poll there, it came out about 50-50, just so you know, on our suppliers including more than just product, right? And what do I mean by that? What are they including more than just product? Well, I think about training, right, inside the car dealerships, and this is an incredible area of opportunity for Mighty. This is one of our absolute pillars and strengths that we commit inside of there or value adds. It's more than just parts, right? Because if you're not selling, we are not selling. So it's really important that we make a commitment to come out and work with those folks that need the education. Now, whether that means we're talking technicians on actually how to use the product or machines or whatever that may be inside the back of the house. And this could be supplier training. This could be your actual local Mighty rep that comes out and does the training toe to toe. This could be corporate training from the franchise headquarters at Mighty. We have a lot of deep bench of training availability for advisors and technicians. On the advisor side, it's hard to keep good advisors. And the ones you do have, you hold on to them dearly in that service department. You know exactly who they are. But you know what? They can't all be champions. So you're always having to train and bring new people in and try and make your folks better. You know what? We do a lot of training, whether that's hands-on training, as you see over to the right over there, classroom training. We have several different online training capabilities. So it can be a self-paced module driven, and that's for technicians or advisors. Vehicle inspection. There's no better way to increase average repair order inside the facility on these used cars or vehicles that are coming through on a consistent basis than doing a good, thorough vehicle inspection. And I'm sure you're doing a digital vehicle inspection in there. It's so much easier, as we talked about earlier, if you have it, to sell it. And that's really what this program affords you to be able to do. On the advisor side, selling script training, what to say. Like how do I sell a cabin air filter easier? How do I sell a gasoline direct inject fuel system service, which is 94% of the vehicles sold in the United States in 2023 out of internal combustion engines were gasoline direct inject. They require a higher level of cleaning. They require a more consistent timeline. You have to do it more often. Well, how do I explain that to a customer who really doesn't know a lot about cars, right? Well, there's some sales script training that's associated with that. Vehicles, VS7 chemical certification. This is an online chemical certification for technicians and advisors to get trained up to know how to sell preventative maintenance more effectively, understanding the programs, understanding how to communicate with guests inside the service drive. A myriad of training and demo videos that are available online on YouTube that are accessible for equipment, for vehicle inspection, for training, for cabin air filter, for air filter, whatever those needs may be in the preventative maintenance arena. How do I become more effective at keeping the customers I have in there that are highly concerned and thinking about preventative maintenance? It's top of mind for a huge percentage of those guests that come through statistically, and you want to continue to keep them. So last and final poll question I'll give you as you go through here. Take a moment and do that if you would. All right. And no surprise there. Would vendor consolidation be a benefit to you? 100% said yes. So last thing I'll talk about before we wrap up here is strategic franchise opportunities. I told you earlier we have 25 strategic franchisees across the country. These are car dealerships or dealership groups that actually own their own Mighty franchise. So they've decided, you know what, I'm tired of paying Napa, CarQuest, O'Reilly's, AutoZone to come in and hotshot and bring me preventative maintenance parts. I'm tired of paying BG, Wins, or Mach to run a chemical program for me. I want to control my own destiny. I want to be my own wholesale distribution. I want to control my own supply chain. There are opportunities around the country. These are just the ones currently, as you can see there, for a strategic partnership, or you can get your own Mighty franchise for your car dealership. As you see them on there, please feel free, if that's of interest, to reach out to us. As I said, we have currently 25 partners with 300-ish roofs across the country that are doing that see great value in that. If that's not for you, please reach out to your local Mighty representative. If you go to mightyautoparts.com and you type in the top right-hand corner your zip code, it's going to put you right to the person who is in your territory, who is a local Mighty representative that can come out and talk to you about this program. And also feel free to reach out to me, and my contact information will be forthcoming soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to participate today. I feel that this is of great value to car dealerships. This is our fastest growth territory across the country. It makes so much sense for used car recon, for all makes, all models, for your car, your chemical program inside of there on your preventative maintenance chemicals, for your car appearance program, and from a training aspect. This is the way the market is going. Please take a good look at this. This is going to help you consolidate vendors. This is going to help you save money.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And everyone, you can ask questions via the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So go ahead and click on that. We'll answer as many as we can during the remainder of the time. Here's one, Matt. What has been your experience with customer retention as you work with dealerships once the customer is out of warranty?
Well, again, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. My experience has been there's attrition, and I think we would all agree with that in the dealership world. If we're being honest with ourselves, we're not capturing 100% of those customers that when they get out of their 336, just for an example, they're going somewhere else. And we want to keep them. We want to capture that business. So how do we capture them? Well, we talked about the market is going towards higher mileage vehicles for the next 8 to 10 years. Well, I don't know about you, but that's a long time. We want to capture that business. A good part of that is having an incredible all makes, all models program. A good part of that is having a preventative maintenance chemical program that gives tangibility or money coverage on those vehicles that brings them back to the service drive again and again and again, not only for those services, but those repairs. If those happen, they get driven back to that service drive to get the repairs done. And again, that used car pre-owned protection program that brings them back to the dealership. So retention is a real hot word if you're talking in our business. So I think it creates an incredible drive for that. So that's a great question.
And here is another. What are the areas of preventative maintenance that are on the rise?
Another great question. So areas of preventative maintenance that are really on the rise as you look at it are, I think about cabin air filters, right? I like to think of cabin air filters are really the mask for your car. We just came out of COVID. Everybody's very conscientious about what they're breathing. Cabin air filters are a big area of opportunity that oftentimes get overlooked in the vehicle inspection process. So that's an excellent opportunity, and they're not inexpensive, so it's a good way to drive average repair order. The second one we touched a little bit on is gasoline direct inject fuel system services. If you're not in that business of doing cleanings on fuel systems for gasoline direct inject, you are missing the boat. That is an excellent opportunity. They have huge carbon issues. We've got small displacement motors with high horsepower and great fuel economy, but it comes at a cost, and that's carbon buildup inside of these little motors. And with a good cleaning process, that is one of the fastest growing areas of preventative maintenance.
And everyone, again, you can click on that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try to answer that with the remaining time. Here's a third, Matt. What would you say is the main benefit of going with a Mighty program over one of the current suppliers being utilized?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, it's having a successful stocking program inside of there would be highly beneficial. The example I'll use, I don't know if you can see my camera right now, but like it's real easy to sell something that you can see. So if I'm a service advisor and I send a picture of a cabin air filter, for instance, like this, of a new and a used cabin air filter, and I say, hey, here's your cabin air filter that came out of your vehicle, and we've got a new one right here for sale. Do you want to go ahead and take care of that? Well, it's very easy to sell. So actually having the product on hand makes a big difference. And from a used car recon, again, I talked earlier about if I've got the parts there that I can turn and burn and get the car back out for sale on the lot quicker than the next guy, I'm going to sell more cars. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that in a cost-effective way, in a quality way, and in a quick way. And I think that this program really affords the ability to do that. And then I hope that answers that question. I do see a great question in the Q&A, and it says, if I own my own Mighty franchise, am I limited to selling to my own dealership? And that's a great question. So not necessarily. There's multiple different opportunities inside of there. So we have what's called an IDF, where you sell to yourselves and only yourselves. And if that's what you want to do and you don't want to participate in a licensed territory and put the staffing into doing that and going out and selling in that market, we have that model. Now, however, if you do want to buy one of those licensed territories like we saw on that slide, which many of our strategic franchises, actually majority, do that. They get that licensed territory, they take care of the low-hanging fruit, which is their own business, and they fix their own business with their wholesale distribution, and then they're selling to other dealerships, tire stores, quick lubes, fleets, independent repair facilities inside that licensed territory, and building their own market inside of there and their own business that bolts on. So I would say that is a majority of what we see in the strategic dealership partners that I spoke on earlier. They do sell outside, but you do not have to.
All right, I see no further questions that have come in. Doug, you can go ahead and activate your webcam and get ready to conclude the time and go into the next segment.
Well, Matt, thank you very much for a very informative webinar. I want to reiterate that one of the common problems that we see in dealerships, especially when we're doing our spend analysis on the front end, is an overabundance of suppliers. Too many suppliers, and especially in this category of where there's a healthy bit of competition out there, as Matt mentioned, with CarQuest and Napa and AutoZone and everybody else. There's just too many suppliers with very inconsistent pricing. So the opportunity here is really to narrow that supplier base, simplify your business model, and kind of control your destiny. We also know that all dealerships are selling OEM parts out of their inventory to other dealerships. So most of you are in this business already, and this is a way to reduce your costs and improve profitability. So Matt, we really appreciate your information here today, and if you need to reach out to Matt, the information is on the screen, and we will have a QR code you can scan in a little while, and we'd be happy to get that deck out to you as well. So go ahead and scan that if you'd like a copy of today's presentation, and we'll make sure we get that to you. Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Having said that, how much money are you leaving on the table? If you're not a client of Strategic Source today, we know that most dealers are overspending by 25%. The data that we've compiled over the years has been between 21 and 27%, and our data for 2023 is confirming that dealers are spending 25% too much on supplies and services. So some dealership facts that should be helpful to you. There's about 150 expense categories. The one that Matt talked about here today is just one of that 150. Most dealers spend in about 100 of those categories. And we've learned that most dealers will spend 5% of sales. So if you're a $100 million dealership, you're going to spend about $5 million in services and supplies. We know your supplier ratio can go from 4 to 1, meaning 4 suppliers for every expense category, all the way up to 200 to 1. It can be quite ridiculous, the amount of suppliers that can come into the equation. We know that the cost reduction opportunity typically is 25%. Research says that, and that's been our experience as well. And we know that about 95% of the dealers are decentralized, meaning there is not a formal purchasing department in place, and that can lead to a broad growth of suppliers. So the business problem, there's a broad scope of expense categories. There's a tactical firefighting approach. Most dealers are short-staffed. Most dealers don't have a plan in terms of attacking those expense categories. This is just a kind of a chart that'll show you some of the other opportunities. In addition to too many suppliers to manage, there's too many invoices to process, and few discounts and rebates are actually being taken. So those are some of the expense challenges that dealers have today. This is a chart that really shows at different revenue bands here between $25 million and $300 million in sales. Again, given the 5%, what your annual supply and service spend would be at 25% cost savings, what that would look like on an annual basis, and what it would look like on a monthly basis. So the savings can be pretty compelling if you pay attention here and get after the indirect spend. Expense category scope. Here's a list of just 72 categories that every organization will spend in, whether you're a auto dealer or a manufacturing company, you'll likely spend money in these 72 categories. Next, if you own your own facility, which most dealers do, you'll have 15 facility categories to manage as well. And on the automotive side, you can add another 56 categories just in automotive related items such as parts, used parts, paintless dent repair, uniforms, vehicle history reports, and more. So you can see where the scope of the work gets quite large. So what are some of the strategic source solutions that we can provide to dealerships? We've got a profit improvement program that really focuses on the financial analysis, spend category planning, sourcing, implementation, spend management reviews, and audits. We provide all of those services to clients. So the problems that we solve are really high expenses, little time, poor profitability. And the benefits are we provide a guaranteed ROI, we reduce those expenses, and we provide improved profitability. Another product that we have is called a strategic spend analysis, and this is where we go in and do some analytics on the front end. We help develop a 12-month category sourcing plan, or work plan as we call that. So the problems we're solving here is ineffective planning, poor cost reduction results, kind of a tactical approach, and the benefits are, we really help you organize, get your plan together. It's a staff planning tool. And if you execute the plan with some of the help that we give you, you should be able to reduce your cost by 25% as well. We have a contract tracker for those dealers who don't have contract visibility, that are facing auto renewals in kind of an uncontrolled environment. We have a digital contract tracker that'll provide contract visibility, alerts on expiration dates, and really will help mitigate risk. We also have a digital spend management suite, and this is really a combination of the contract tracker, Expense Edge, which is a database of price points that you might be interested in to reduce your costs, a learning module to help your staff learn how to manage spend management more effectively. And then we've got a coaching component, a monthly coaching component on here to help guide you through the myriad of expenses that your organization might have. This is Expense Edge. This is a product that's just about ready to be market ready. But one of the challenges the dealers have is they don't know what a good price is, whether it's for a credit bureau or for a uniform shirt or for a 3-ring binder. We provide those benchmarks. We provide highly competitive pricing. We help you save time and improve your cost confidence. And lastly, we have spend management learning. So we can help teach spend management to your team if they're poorly trained. If you have high expense levels, poor profitability, we can help walk them through the elements necessary to build that capability in-house. So again, if you'd like a copy of today's webinar, please scan this QR code. We'll make sure that we get this information out to you, and feel free to contact us at sales@strategicsource.com. But we thank you for your attendance today. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you, Doug. And thank you, Matt. And I'm going to pull up the post-session survey. You spent almost an hour with us. We'd love to get your feedback because it makes us better. All right, everyone. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to you joining us on future profit improvement webinars with Strategic Source. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.